Ladies and germs, gentlemen, and ladies and germs and gentlemen, miscreants of all kinds, all 8 million of you around the world and around the globe. You know, I appreciate you. Tucker, say hello.
Hello.
Back. We're here. We're ready to rock and roll. We decided, you know what? It was like midnight when we got back to things. We played some Halo Wars. Tucker's really into Halo Wars. We enjoyed that. And, you know what? We'll come back tomorrow. It's now about 8:30. We're gonna take a break. 10. Grab me some medicine and so on and so forth, and then we gonna go ahead and get on and get on and yeah. As in, keep going till we beat it. Tucker wants to be done. I want to be done. It's now the 28th of December on a playthrough that started December the 5th. It's also official. For all 200 subs out there who we greatly appreciate, and almost 2K subs on Twitch, which are 2K followers. So come back to there. Someday we'll be back. Very soon, I hope. Very soon. Lot of things in the fire right now. Whatever you say, ignorance in the fire, cooking. We'll just say a lot of burners, pots on the burners, whatever. Generation Zero's next. That's what I'm trying to say. Generation Zero's next. Okay.
You better hurry up and...
So, Tucker, what have we figured out is the mission?
Today we are going to work on Super Madison, and it lives in the top of the map and supposedly lives in a sewer.
Yes. But it turns out, what I learned last night is the PC version is actually much more complete than this. And they pretty much just gave up on this game altogether. That's pretty much what happened. And the DLC is apparently actually good. And it was called the Dynamite Dead DLC. And, like, no one talks about it. I didn't even know it existed until last night. And we've been playing this game for a while now. 4 months. So, 3 months. 2 months. 2 months. 3 months. No, 3. Yeah, 3. Almost 4. Anyway. And it has, like, very positive reviews on Steam. People really like it, actually. And I was honestly going to do it. I was going to go ahead and pull the trigger. I know Tucker would have been pretty pissed at me, but it looked like it was short, simple, and there was some cool stuff with it. And on the PC version, for like $6, you can not only get the game and all the DLC and the Dead DLC, you can get all the, yeah, it's just the everything. You get all the DLC.
That was even...
What? You can get all the DLC, you can get all the goodies. The reason I didn't go there because it looks closed up. Oh, wait. Okay. Oh, were we able to open this before? I gotta change the Magewell. So, like,
dark.
on here, there's a bunch of $2.99 DLCs that have actually cool stuff, even though I hate that it's pay-to-win stuff, like really good pets, really good guns, especially the pets, because there's only the bat that we've seen. But what it appears happens is the devs just gave up on this game after 2017, and trying to research anything on it is usually fruitless. There's just nobody talking about it even. And it's making me believe like this. Let's look at this. Stay back here. That look like where she lives?
Looks a lot
That
like
looks
it.
a lot like it. Look, there's the table. Now this is this corner here.
You have to move. There's another part of the sewer that we need to go to.
Lives in the sewers at the very top of the map by the northeast. Oh, she's unlocked in the Kovac quest De Profundis.
We haven't done that one yet.
So we gotta go do Kovac's mission. And then Super Madison. Now Tucker's not thrilled about this because he's very done. But I think that I'm gonna look on the bright side of this. And my opinion is, hey, this gives us a chance to complete what we promised. And what did we actually we don't need to go. What did we promise the people, Tucker?
They were gonna get the armory accessories to level 50.
Well, those are definite, but we also said we would get everything 50. Now, we're changing probably that, because I don't know that we're going to farm after we hit the cap. We're going to do the last raid. That's for sure. Right? The last raid.
Yeah, that's for sure.
We're going to hit level 50. I've already done. We're going to get the armory and accessories to 50. Okay, while you're slacking off in town, you've heard him. Presentable to wear, no offense. For gentlemen, right? We would help her out. Or bring back some plants.
Was just about to send you that.
Rain. Called Bewitched. So here we are, making progress. 5 minutes in. The level cap, armory, and the what's the other thing? Accessory.
Yeah. Accessories and armor. To level
50.
50 and character.
All quests done. Which is kind of, yeah, that's the. All missions done. Characters to level 50. 2 facilities to 50. And I think before the last raid, we're gonna try to like really get our gear up and get powerful and get our camp going. So our goal for right now, until our break at 10, Tucker, will be just run as many missions as possible. We'll do drop-offs, we'll craft arrows, but just keep pumping missions. And then when we come back at 10, when we take our break at 10, we'll take our walk and we'll see, what the situation is, how we're doing,
Looks like there's something.
and we'll make a game plan. Let's go down on what we do next. I'm hoping we need to both, before the 10 o'clock break, we need to get Super Madison done. And we need to get Super Madison, and I think we should finish our quest line. Finished. Who all have we now finished?
We have Clifton, Roscoe, Raymond, Leslie, Kenji.
Leslie was last night.
Finished Kenji.
Raymond.
I've already said.
Oh, did you?
Um,
We finished everybody but Kovacs,
Yeah.
right?
Until we unlock Super Madison.
I think Madison's it. Because that's where we tie back into that DLC conversation. There are more NPCs and there are more quest givers. And in fact, there's some really good stuff in the DLCs, really powerful equipment. And really, like the missing explosives that we've been wondering about because they were in the first one. Looks like they're in that DLC, but it never got to console. I don't know if this studio closed up. It's a mystery. Because this is an ambitious sequel, and they clearly put a whole lot of time into it. I mean, it's got flaws. There is no doubt. It has plenty of flaws, but it's definitely not a piece of shit either. There's still a lot of potential with this franchise. I don't mean this one. I mean, this is pretty old now. Would have to move on and do some new stuff, but I don't see why there couldn't be a How to Survive 3, but I don't think the studio exists anymore. Or they would have brought... There's no reason not to bring the DLCs over to console.
Made this.
It's like 5... You better back out of there. Like 5... Okay, good. Vulnerability frames. It's like 505 Games, I think is their name. I'm sure they weren't big. I think they literally existed to make How to Survive 1. How to Survive 1 was a surprise hit. They clearly tried to put everything in the kitchen sink into the sequel. Lots of times, probably tons of crunch, because apparently got it out in decent compared to the first one. And then, I'm sure, because this has been buggy, and it's had flaws, that it took them a while just to get this, like, functioning in a good state. And then they were probably like, oh my god, this is selling very well, we need money. Went with pay-to-win DLCs. That probably didn't help things, it never does. And I assume that it was just too big. I mean, because they literally tried to make like a little MMO here. This is the Destiny style MMO light gameplay that was becoming a huge trend around 20, and even sooner than that. Really, that starts around 2014, even 12. Borderlands 2 and then Destiny 1, and after Destiny 1 was a huge hit, a lot of games started following this trend. And now we're sort of having a return to the norm. But yeah, they followed the trend. And these games are really hard to pull off. They're huge, they're ambitious, and you have to think about everything in terms of multiplayer. And you have to balance your entire game according to that. And that's especially difficult when you do like a single player based survival game. Just look at Fallout 76 if you think that that's like an easy thing to do. And you can balance it, but you're either going to ruin the single player functions or you're going to ruin the multiplayer function. As in, it's either too easy or too hard to get synced. That's what it usually boils down into. And in this case, I mean, I just think that it's so repetitious. It is a lot of the problem. Getting more powerful is fun. No doubt. Getting new equipment when you do get to get new equipment, it's not super common. It's good. I mean, they vastly improved the inventory system. It's a huge night and day. The crafting system, Tucker and I have had mixed feelings on because we do miss
Just building up your original weapons.
Yeah, we miss that. It's cool that there's more, it seems like, but at the same time, let's just ignore him. Let's go down to this exclamation mark. Now I've lost my train of thought, but there's a lot of improvements from the first one. And a lot of the issues in this game boil down into the same mission structure. And you not only are in the same mission structure, which is go to this place, grab this stuff, kill things along the way, and leave. It expects you in many cases to do that same mission multiple many times. If you want to see the end game, you're going to be farming. Farming is okay if it at least stays varied, and there's like if you're doing an MMO, Tucker, you've never gone hardcore into an MMO yet, but I've done a few times on hardcore into one. You're really loving the map on this one.
Well, where are the mushrooms?
Just keep exploring too, though. Grinding in MMOs has to have two components to make it work. One, there has to be places that you can get XP fast and are really satisfying because it feels like you're getting power fast. And there has to be places when it slows down that you can go to if you've gained enough power that you can keep it going. So a different zone. Second thing that it has to have, and this is even more important than the first, there has to be a purpose to that grinding. You're leveling up to go into a dungeon with buddies, or you're leveling up to wear a certain armor set, or you're out grinding to get materials to become X skill, X class. It has to be like that, and that'll keep you focused, and that'll make the game, time will disappear. You'll absolutely love the gameplay. I've had a couple that have done that for me. Guild Wars, Dofus, Seth got hardcore into MMOs at one point. This game has the second part, actually. I would honestly argue that they're not like, oh my god, we can't wait to do this thing. But we've had some moments where we're like, all right, let's get Tucker the Leviathan arm. Hey, I'd like a new bow. They don't show up very often, though. And that means for the most of the time, you're just grinding XP. And the XP grind, in my opinion, they really screwed it up in this one. And can you guess why, Tucker?
Balance.
What makes the XP grind in this game not very satisfying? The reason is because there's too much XP needed for everything, and they just added a bunch of sinks. To artificially extend the game, they added time sink. That's a common game development fallacy that, oh sure, people will spend more time in the game, but that's all it is adding. They're fluffing it out. And how that works in this game, how do they manage to pad the XP grind in this, Tucker?
You have to just level up your base, but then base level's too high, so level up your character. Then you have to level up your base again. Level up your character, never giving you enough level up your base skill.
So if you want to level up the skills that actually make you more powerful, you have to be a certain character level. And you can't get to a certain character level unless your camp has gotten to a certain level. And you can't level up your camp enough to level up your character except for every 5 levels. 5, 10, 15, etc. All the way up to 50. Okay? Then you'll get your camp up and you'll have to do a defense. And then you can finally level your character again. But now you've had to spend about 4 times the amount of XP you originally needed just to start digging into something like Tucker, melee expert, me, archery expert. Then, let's get into archery expert, right? Do I get power every single time that I put a little bar in here? No. You don't get power in this tree until you get to the end. 384,000. What's 3 times 4, Tucker?
12.
12. So over 1 million and probably 500,000 XP required just to get to archery expert 8. You need level. Oh, you're at XP. Okay, now that's on top of all the XP that Tucker and I had to pour into the camp. Now, thankfully, we were playing multiplayer. We've said multiple times that if we weren't playing multiplayer, we don't know if this game would really be. I don't think we would have beat it.
We'd probably play it like twice, probably get to 20 episodes, and then get out of it.
If that. It would just be too repetitious, and I definitely don't think we would have made it past the opening fray. When we were constantly doing like 10 damage and starving to death.
Yeah.
The opening of this game is awful. Just awful. It's why it's had a tough time in my book getting up to 4. Because it's so difficult for a player to get into it. Now, once we got established, you know, if there hadn't have been that tough opening, I'd give it like a 5. I really would. I think that there's enough improvements from the first one. I mean, really ambitious improvements, like the inventory, like the camp system, like those things are definitely huge strides from where they were in that first one. Tucker and I having beat it, and we'll eventually do a let's play here on that. But just to get to that point where you're like, oh man, this camp defense was fun. Oh man, our characters are starting to get more powerful. Hey, Tucker looks cool. He's got some sweet armor and a build starting to come together. You have to put in so much time and deal with so much bullshit just to get there that I don't think most players got there at all. And I wouldn't blame them, because we spent the first 15 episodes, Tucker's starving, I'm starving, both dehydrated. So my bow is taking 35 seconds to charge its shots up. Tucker's doing like 10 damage. We're both dying with 1 hit. We're not getting any XP. Some very small part of that was my fault, because I was constantly putting it at the very top of the difficulty. But let's talk about difficulty now. What is a big issue with this game's difficulty?
It doesn't seem like it doesn't seem like it's being completely honest with its like max. Well, it isn't being just because whenever a side quest, that it'll add it to the total amount of XP. So like 200,000 total XP. Then you'll die a couple times and you'll get like minus 20 XP. Even if you didn't do the side quest and you didn't know that total amount, then you probably only got like 100,000 XP out of that.
Is it worth going up into higher difficulties?
It is not worth at all.
It's not worth it at all. You get very little XP, right?
Yeah.
But you get a lot more difficulty. And when I said let's talk about the difficulty, you were right. I was mostly talking about how does this game increase difficulty? What always happens if you increase difficulty?
More pharaohs.
Pharaohs. That's it. The way that this game increases difficulty is not like, oh, there's more zombies, or oh, there's, you know, extra layer you have to do. They just throw pharaohs everywhere. That's the answer to a higher difficulty mission. And pharaohs are still in our tier list of shitty enemies to deal with, of which there's plenty in this game.
They're number 2.
They're still number 1 for me, because you see them a lot more often than Anis.
Yeah.
Pharaohs come in big packs, sometimes up to 7 at a time. We've probably seen even higher than that. Okay? They do not follow their rules, which is in the first one, they can't be out during the day, and they're allergic to all light, and they'll run away from it. In this one, they come out during the day, they'll act like they're intimidated by the flashlight, but they're not actually.
And they'll like charge at you.
They constantly charge you. Okay? And they have unlimited sprint, so the only way to dodge them is to run at them and then time out your dodge perfectly. The most annoying thing about pharaohs, can you guess, Tucker, what that is?
Is the stun locking. Because imagine you get hit by one feral, you get knocked over, then another one stay down, then another one hits you, still or stay. Another one hits you, and you're out.
That's right. The stun lock was not balanced. Like a great number of things in this game, it was not balanced. And even if people called out the balance, they didn't then say, oh man, we probably better change it up. Okay, oh, there's a lone vehicle, specific vehicle. Battery to upgrade the camp. How has he not noticed that we've been reminding him the whole time?
No idea.
Still wanted to drink of his blood and eat the flesh, haha. The big black pickup truck, 2 parking spaces behind the... Alright. So Pharaohs, tier list number 1. But we'll finish difficulty before we get into the tier list enemies. Second thing about difficulty. This is where a player, again, would not make it past the opening fray. Borderlands had an issue. Borderlands 2, and its endgame. I'm going to tie into that. Borderlands 2 had an an in-game issue when it released OP levels. OP levels required extremely specific gear and extremely specific builds in a game that was all about loot and variety. Okay, and in order to get one of the key pieces of running any content at the OP levels was a rocket launcher called the Norfleet. And if you didn't have the Norfleet, you weren't going to be able to get second wins. You weren't going to be able to run content, including raid bosses, effectively at all. But here's the catch. The Norfleet, they changed this later, very much later still. This is how it existed for the majority of its life. Was locked behind a raid boss. But in order to beat the raid boss, you had to have a Norfleet. That is the catch-22 of games that are out of balance. Here's the catch-22 of this game's balance. In the beginning, you desperately need XP, you desperately need food, you desperately need water, because you can't do anything. You can't hit effectively, you can't tank effectively, can't do anything. Okay, sweet. How do we get that XP, that food, and that water? Well, you have to run missions. But if you die during these missions, and remember you don't have any kind of power, any kind of skill, so you're certainly going to die during these missions, you have your XP taken away from you. So, you're constantly doing missions, dying 5-6 times, losing all the XP, and not making any progress. Let's talk about, as another example, what's the first mission in this game, Tucker?
First mission in the time in the city.
First time in the city. Now, what is the catch-22 of first time in the city?
It says that you're gonna get food from it, but you spend more food and drink working on the mission than what you get out of it.
Yes. You're going to use more food and water doing that mission than you're going to get out of it. And that puts you in a position that, like Tucker and I, for the first 15, 20 hours of this game is painful. You won't do damage. You will not be able to run. You won't be... Oh, damn, that sword is just a beast.
Really sharp.
Yeah. Won't be carrying things effectively. So it's just a torture. That opening... I did not think Tucker and I were going to make it past 20 episodes in this, the way this game started. And it's disappointing because if you can make it past it, I haven't found this part of the game, besides the repetition
Barrels.
and the ferals, to be that aggravating. Like, I think there's a lot here where I'd say, yeah, this is a good sequel to the first game. It improved a lot more to it. There's a lot more content. This is good. I wouldn't call it, like, great, but it wouldn't be bad. What would you think?
If the beginning was a lot like the middle, where you had enough food and you just, I think it would have been a good sequel.
Yeah, it'd be solid. It would definitely
It
not
wouldn't be like a masterpiece.
No, but we paid $6.99 for it, and if you would have paid $20 for this at launch, absolutely. If they wouldn't have done some pay-to-win DLC shit, and they would have brought the content from the PC over here, absolutely solid, and 505 should try to make a third one as long as it made money. And I think it would have made a lot more money. I think a lot of people were turned off by what we're talking about. They couldn't make it past the opening act. They said, screw this. And I also assume that this game probably was overwhelmed with a lot of cheating, a lot of hacking,
Probably.
because of the online nature of it.
All MMOs have exploiters and hackers.
But anytime you're gonna put a PC and consoles together, like, you're definitely gonna have some weird shit happen.
I heard of some trolls who would go into How to Survive 2 open lobbies and take everything they could from the.
So that kind of stuff, I'm sure, didn't help things. Like, when this game first came out, and it probably had a decent population. That's the kind of stuff that'll real quick erode it. Now, I guess that section's fairly enough well explained. Let's get into our enemy tier list. You go first, Tucker.
How are we gonna do this? Like, F is hardest, S is easiest, or?
Just from the worst to deal with to the best to deal with.
Okay, number one. Number one worst to deal with is definitely. Reason ferals are number one, because we already talked about this. They always come in packs. There's never a singular one. They're always come in like packs of 4. At the very least, you get a pack of 3.
Yeah.
Then, number 2 is Monty Python.
Yeah, Monties.
Monties are those white bunnies. you've seen how they scale. Things are stronger than the bears.
Crash balance on the Monties, big time. Tons of health, huge health pool. Can one hit you? Even Tucker, who has, I think we said, like 95 damage resistance, can
I
be
think
one
it's
hit.
over 100 now.
Over 100, can be one hit by the bunnies. The bunnies can stun lock you. They can constantly bite your ankles like the dogs, but worse. And they have a massive health pool to boot. Their only saving grace is they show up alone, and you don't see them too often. They're pretty rare. We've maybe fought 15 this whole time.
Yeah.
Hey, keep going.
But they're definitely a big annoyance to you, especially at the beginning of the game where you don't have any food or any weapons to deal good enough damage.
Yeah, they'll ruin your day. You'll have to save and quit if a Monty shows up. Even us here near the level cap
You'll have trouble with them.
still have trouble with them and have had to run away from them before because they've started chain killing us and just started eating away all our XP. All right, now keep going.
Number 3 wasn't.
Let's start going through the enemies. We got zombie bears, zombie alligators, zombie deer. Then you have runners, and then you have walkers, and you have crawlers and cujos on 600-pound lives. If I had to say, I would say alligators are number.
Yeah, alligators. They'll quickly charge at you and hide back under the water and charge you.
They're annoying to farm. They're annoying to get to pop up because they're very finicky about it. And if you're having trouble getting them up, you'll have to go into the water where invariably they do that charge attack, and that thing does a shit ton of. The only thing that helps them stay in tier 3 is that they don't have a huge health pool.
Yes, once you hit them like a good 4 times, they are
get to
weak enough
execute
to
'em.
do an execute.
Yeah. Which, as an aside, is one of this game's great strengths, actually. I hope whoever did the animation for this game went on and did some more work and got more work in the game industry because the animations are great. These executions, yeah, they get repetitive, but there's some really cool executions.
That is why the Ferals and Monties are so annoying, because they don't have executions. Kill them quick.
Yeah, you can't even get the satisfaction. Like, the alligators are piss poor enemy to fight, but you at
You
least get
finally get some satisfaction when you rip out their spine and stab them with it.
Right, exactly. So I would then say bears.
Yeah, bears have a big health pool. Big health pool, do a lot of damage, but they're really easy to cheese.
And I'm gonna put this as a separate enemy. I guess it's not a class in and of itself. I would put underneath them runners, and I would tie runners with the bear if we consider a horde its own separate thing. You get a horde of runners, that is one of the most dangerous enemies in the game.
Because they'll interrupt revives. They're able to chase you across the map because they're able to keep up with you.
Speak of the devil, here come the ferals. Yeah, a pack of ferals can end your mission for you. If it's just one runner, or not ferals, but runners. If it's just one runner, no big deal. If you end up getting even 3, that's enough to tie with a bear. The only thing that keeps the bears from going up too high, you get the satisfaction of an execution. They're rare. I've never seen more than 1 in a mission. And every single time we've cheesed them. I think except for once. And so they're not as fast as you are. They definitely run out of charge stamina. They don't, not like ferals where they can charge almost endlessly. And I mean, that pretty much saves them as an enemy type. You can cheese them pretty easy because they can't climb for shit. I don't think they can climb. And
Go with this.
you're faster than them. So, well, there's a way out there, but I'm not really sure how it's.
There's a bunch of them. Oh,
There's no balcony up there, though.
and
how can I
number
not shoot above
5 would be,
Zombie deer, I think. Or Monty Jr.
yeah, Monty Juniors. Not about them.
Monty Jr.'s are
Monty
tied
Jun-
with bear, I think.
Yeah, Monty Juniors are brown.
Oh, shit. This is the way.
Coming.
I done messed up. I have a restorative. You just keep moving. I'll use it. Unless you think you can get me. I'll restorative.
There's a lot of ferals. This is where the rest of the pack was.
Find a better place to fight them.
Pelican wasn't here this time.
That's bizarre. I hope that actually ties into the game. It probably won't. It's almost certainly a bug. Oh, nope. It was a pelican.
So something happens with the pelican.
Yeah, there's an audio bug with the pelican.
That's got to be low on health.
Move, I can shoot him. I'm gonna be out of arrows, probably. I'm gonna end this episode here.